Hello, HOD sir.
Srivas start பண்ணிக்கலாம்.
Start பண்ணலாமா sir? Okay sir.
ஆரம்பிச்சிருங்க.
Sir, very good morning to one and all person here. Today as a guest speaker, Dr. S. Suresh Kumar is the associate professor working in the Department of Mechanical Engineering at SSN College of Engineering, and he having the experience more than 15 years, and he published the international journals of 16 publications. In that, he's presented the conference in the more than 9 conferences, and he registered the patents totally as a 3. We heartily welcome you, sir, Dr. Suresh Kumar sir, on behalf of Head of the Department of Mechanical Engineering, SRM Valiami Engineering College. Today our session for the faculty development program is the friction in machine elements. Kindly gain the knowledge for all the faculty members. He is the expert person in the frictional area. His area of interest in the research is the fatigue strength analysis. Respected Dr. Suresh Kumar sir, we hand over the time for your lecture presentation, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your introduction. Very good morning to one and all present here. So, today's topic is friction in machine elements. Since it's a 6 days faculty development program, I will suggest, because we are all faculty members, I will suggest you my some ideas how the same topic can be taught in a different way to the students. Similarly, that is the entire slides and the entire another 1 to 1.5 hour session has been planned in such a way that how can we find some research topic for our research work. That is a major focus, and how to teach these topics to the students in an innovative way. That is the second aspect. And third one is what are the possible ideas we can consider for our patents. Because we faculty members have to be very strong in the publication side. Plus, additionally, I would insist patent side, because the each and even every our small D&F projects can be patented. So if you focus the students in the right directions. So this is the idea. Anytime you can stop me for if you have any queries. There is no constraints for that. So friction in machine elements is a general idea. For example, any component, whenever we are in the mechanical domain right now. So when we discuss about the friction, whether the friction is required or not required, that is the first question. So whether friction is a positive friction and vibration also we can say. So the friction is whether it is required or not required. Any ideas from your sides? Because we are going to come across many topics today. Generally, I have planned my presentation in such a way that we are not going to solve any problems, only the concept of the problem alone, because already we are teaching the dynamics of machine, kinematics, design of machine elements to the students. So since you are all also faculty member, I don't want to I'm not going to explain how are we going to find a solution to a problem. Instead, we will think in a different directions. We faculty members, let us be strong in the concept point of view, so that will helpful for our research purpose also. So in that aspect, we will take this session so that it will be much benefited for your research work and other patent related works. Okay. So my first question is whether friction needs to be completely eliminated, or is it okay for the design aspect. In the design perspective, from the design perspective, what do you feel about friction? Is it required or not required?
So based on the applications.
Exactly. Sir, can you spot out any one of the application where friction is compulsorily required?
Let you take as an example of driving a vehicle.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Driving a vehicle.
So we need a friction between a tire and road surface.
Exactly.
So that time we need a friction. If we take a piston and cylinder, that time we need to avoid the friction in order to get maximum efficiency.
Exactly.
So that
Super, sir. So from this one patent problem, I will suggest you right now. So our defense vehicles are concerned. We know this is a tire. Let us take this is a tire. This is a normal road surface. Sometimes, whenever the vehicle, the defense vehicle is designed for off-road vehicle, so there will be a snow, like the irregular surfaces will be there. So at that time, the normal tire profile may not be sufficient to move in the to move forward. So immediately the tire treads needs to be altered, or the normal tire needs to be converted as a tracked vehicle. Do you have any idea for this, or do you have any idea or suggestion how to overcome this issue? Because the same tire cannot be used for the snow filled area, because the friction will be less. At that time, momentarily, temporarily we can say, on another condition, the tracked vehicle we cannot use in the normal road surface because it may spoil the tar road. Okay, so that's why if we develop any attachment for the defense vehicle so that it can move both normal road surface as well as snow filled area. This is a snow filled area, and something like irregular area also we can have. So how can we design a tire, either design or alter the tire profile temporarily based on the surface requirements? Can you suggest any ideas, sir? Because this is a pattern problem. And moreover, every year our defense domain releases the possible problems to the open forum. So definitely, if we pick up some of the problems and if we give it to our final year or third year students, we can mutually it's a benefited, so that we can get the work extracted from the students, and the same work can be communicated back to the defense sector, Army Research Bureau, ARB, Army Research Bureau. We can address those problems and we can expect, we can apply for funding. So with the little bit of proof of concept, we can apply for the funding. This is the one possible avenue. So do you have any idea? This is a situation based completely related to friction, because whenever the same vehicle or any army vehicle which carries weapons or food services to the soldiers, it find it very difficult to climb over the Siachen or something like Ladakh areas. In these areas, the normal tires cannot be used. Tracked vehicles, of course, good, but tracked vehicles cannot be used in the normal tar road. So what is the solution for this problem? Any idea? Already US have a solution for this problem, but we'll worry about the problems later, solution later. Now, what is your opinion? Do we have any solution for this problem? Don't worry, if even only we faculty members are there. Any ideas, don't hesitate to express, because this is a just a technically open forum or discussion channel. That's all. Even though it's a FDP lecture, we are going to share our ideas. So this is a problem. This is the problem. What could be the solutions for this? Because if you think about any solution for this particular problem, the idea is patentable. So related to friction, some kind of the area, because temporarily we need to enhance the friction between the tire and the surface. For that, how can we develop an attachment? Because the driver cannot come down and he cannot change all the 4 tires. That is not possible. It is not a, because life threatening is there for him. So in that situation, what could be the possible solution for him? That is one idea. Any idea do you have? Any idea?
A dual tire can be fixed to folding the normal tire, driving the track in
of course, your idea is okay, but without violating the ground clearance, can you suggest something? Because if you add additional tire to the existing one, the ground clearance will raise. The ground clearance again will affect the stability of the vehicle. So so now our idea needs to be revised. That's all. Temporarily.
Sir, this is Srinivasan, sir. Actually, yes, if it is possible, 2 tires is to be parallelly attached with each other and each axle. So one is to be a foldable type attachments will be attached to any one of the tire element. If in a normal conditions, some attachments based on the hydraulic systems we are going to lifting that unused vehicles when you are traveling in the flat surfaces, or otherwise it's a regular surfaces.
Correct.
Then
So,
after that, if you are going to enter in the field of irregular surfaces, then we are going to lift that normal surface running tires. Then we have to fit down the next one to the surface contact.
correct.
Then we are going to run the vehicles in the smooth manner, and we are also achieve the clearance also, sir.
Yes, sir. So this is also one possible idea because based on the road surfaces, tar road, normal tire. Suppose the moment off road, then the additional tires can be something using the hydraulic arrangement. That is one solution, and something like that. There may be multiple solutions to this problem. So all the ideas have a one common bound. That is how to enhance the friction between the tire. Otherwise, with a normal tire, and if you try to climb, it will rotate in the same position. It won't move forward because the torque may not be sufficient. So to gain enough torque in the ground, friction should be more in that region. So that is the one aspect where the friction is badly required for our case. And another case is, let us take example of an aircraft fastener. This is one pattern problem, and even we can think we are also working for this problem as a design and fabrication project. Even you can give it multiple solutions, students can come out, so that the best idea can be submitted to the Army Design Bureau. That is one problem. And next one is the aircraft fasteners are concerned, and many places self loosening of the bolt and nut is the major problem. Self loosening of the bolt and nut. If the same thing happens at the mid air condition, the effects will be extremely unimaginable. So what is the solutions for this self loosening of fastener? What is the reason for self loosening?
Main thing is the vibrations, sir.
Exactly, sir. Super. Vibration is the first one.
Vibration is to be coming out, acting as the external force to come out the fasteners from its slots.
Exactly, sir. Because of the vibration, the self loosening happens. Most of the rice mill industries also the same thing, because whenever we are trying to separate the stones from the paddy, we are using the vibrators. So during that time, wherever the vibration are there, definitely self loosening is unavoidable. And still, if you go closer to the problem, in the contact interface between the bolt and the nut, okay, in the contact interface between the bolt and nut, if the surfaces are too smooth and if the friction coefficient is very less, then obviously self loosening will be happen. So rough surfaces are required between the bolt and the nut. When the bolt and nut engages between these areas, high surface roughness is required, so that the grip between the bolt and nut will be more. Okay. So and moreover, aircraft fasteners we are tightening with the help of torque wrenches. So predefined pre-torquing we are giving to the bolt and nut assembly. This is a research problem. What is the effect of this friction coefficient between the bolt and the nut of an aircraft fasteners to avoid self-loosening? So that is also another interesting area. So again, it's an important research area also. The first one is for the patentable idea. The second one is related to in the between the bolt and nut interface, what type of contact exists. Suppose if the surfaces are so smooth, then even though if you apply the torque, it will get relieved immediately. So that's why the surface roughness is required. Everywhere we are working out fine finishing of surfaces. But in this case, when the bolt and nut engages each other, so during the mating region, the rough surfaces needs to be maintained so that friction is required there. So the friction coefficient plays an important role in between the contact interfaces of many of our components. The same friction coefficient when the piston and cylinders are concerned. This is a piston and connecting rod other arrangement. We don't want the friction here. We don't want the friction between the piston and the cylinder, and the metal to metal contact is avoided by means of a piston rings we are using. That is one idea. Here we don't want the friction, but here friction we require. So because of the friction only, we can get the the contact between the bolt and nut will be maintained. So this is another area. And one more problem I want to insist, whenever there is a NASA open challenges is the another platform wherein students or faculty members, we can communicate, we can design a vehicle for the Mars. This is an open international challenge. So while designing such a vehicle, rovers, it is called the rover, Mars rover, we can say. Whenever we are designing this such a type of rovers to the Mars application, obviously it is going to be a off-road vehicle. So again, friction plays an important role in that vehicle. Actually, one of our batch team member, students team designed this vehicle and they participated the competition also. Unfortunately, in the when the rover was tested, it failed in the welded joints, so that we couldn't took care of during the design stage. So this is the rover challenge because off-road vehicle design, so that too in the Mars, the vehicle, the autonomous vehicle, completely autonomous vehicle. Moreover, the road surfaces, we do not know whether it is a concrete kind of road surface or it's a loose sand. Because if it is loose sand, more torque is required. How to design a vehicle in a complete off-road vehicle is a fourth upcoming area. Because designing of a vehicle in the normal road surface, it's very good and when the procedures are well established, whereas the design of a vehicle in the off-road conditions, mud environment or Mars environment or completely loose sand, in those areas friction is going to crack the entire stuff. So those who are aiming for any patentable work, you can think of these friction related problems or friction related research areas for the electric vehicles. So because number of patents are less for the electric vehicles related to reducing the friction or increasing the friction or tire configuration, anything related to that, we can, if you start our research work or patent work towards electric vehicle, that is a frictional coating or a friction, something like that. So if you do, if you think so, definitely it will be another area of research, we can say how to design a frictional grips or a frictional how tread profile for the electric vehicles, because electric vehicles badly needs weight reduction. Okay, electric vehicles badly needs weight reduction, vibration should be less, and then the if the based on the tire profile, the electricity consumption may come down also. So this is the another area, upcoming area. So first one is the defense problem is for the patentable idea, and self-loosening of fastener due to lack of friction between the mating surfaces, another research area, and the rover design. And another one is EV, electrical vehicles design. While designing the electrical vehicles, how the end concept of friction can be implemented. The vehicle structures and automotive components are concerned, we want to minimize the friction between the mating surfaces. And frictional, obviously friction causes heat also. So because of the continuous friction, it causes heat. So these are the adverse effect of the friction, and most probably friction will have both positive as well as negative impacts. That is mainly based on the mechanical application. So that is the main thing. In our vehicle designs are concerned, we are using the normal brake and ABS. So everybody knows very well what is the difference between normal braking system and ABS. Suppose if you want to design a braking system for a oven milk tank or water tank, what is your suggestion? What kind of brake exists right now in the case of a milk tank or containers, or oven milk tank or water tank? Because immediately you cannot stop the vehicle because of the sloshing effect of the tank container, because of the water moving to and fro. So what happens, it will push, we cannot stop the vehicle or park the vehicle all of a sudden. It will, at that time, that is the biggest challenging of designing of a brake for a water tanker. Okay, so what type of brake you would suggest? Any idea? Can we think of ABS for the tanker lorries?
So it is difficult to use the ABS because it will applying of brake force for all the four wheels of the equally.
Exactly. So, and moreover, the inertia will be very high, half mv square it moves. So, if you calculate the inertia force will be very high. For the normal vehicle, okay, already it contains fluid. The fluid moves up and down, its losses and vertical accelerations are unavoidable. So, in this condition, how to design a braking system? That is another challenge. And another one is even in our two-wheeler, disc brake or we are using the rear suspension. Have you heard a two-wheeler with disc brakes located on both front and rear? What is the drawbacks of keeping disc brake in the front? Any suggestions? Do you agree that, or do you comfortable with the disc brake at the front?
No, sir.
Reason, sir?
Hello.
Yes, sir. I can hear you.
Okay, sir. Actually, due to the applied force is very higher when you are suddenly applying the force through the hand.
Correct, sir.
So the pitch, so that is the main factor. It is happened for the maximum accident when they are using as the front brake, sir.
Yes, front brake usually நம்ம யூஸ் பண்ண மாட்டோம், but even some situations, some vehicles are provided with the disc brake at both front and rear. So in those brakes,
Yes,
whenever the sudden brake is being applied, the rear wheel will have a tendency to get air lifted. Okay, so that is the one thing.
Yes.
So in order to overcome this, nowadays we are started to use ABS. So what is the major difference between normal disc brake and the ABS? Any idea? Normal.
ABS, the applying equivalent force for the balancing the braking force to the wheels. That's it.
Fine.
Applying for individual wheels.
Fine, sir. But actually, in the case of ABS are concerned, the same braking forces applied with multiple time intervals. So that's why in the inertia is broken into pieces. For example, whenever the vehicle fitted with a front disc brake, if you apply the brake, in the back side will try to get lifted. Backside is trying to get lifted. Instead, if you use the ABS, the same braking force is being applied with a time interval of fraction of seconds. So that's why we find it so easy. So that's why we find it easy to apply the. We won't feel the inertia will be the reaction force transmitted to the occupant will be very less. So that is the main advantages of ABS. Okay, so the ABS is so costly, master cylinder on the construction details point of view, everything is fine, but if you want to minimize the inertia to the driver or to the rider, ABS is always better. Okay, so with this, these are the some fundamentals. Definitely we can relate to our friction chapters whenever we are discussing it to the students. And generally actually the entire content whatever I collected from the net only. And moreover, because only I'm going to highlight how are we going to teach to the students, what are the innovative practices we can think of while teaching, and how can we relate to the real world applications to the student to our teaching, so that it would be so interesting. Only I'm going to highlight those aspects only. I'm ready to share all the materials whatever I prepared for this session. I'm ready to send it to the coordinators. So generally, whenever we are talking about the forces and then other things, for example, we are sitting in a chair. Right now we are listening the one second. Okay, right now we are listening the FDP lectures by sitting in the chair. So what are the type of loads acting on the member? That is also important, because what is the difference between forces and friction, that we should know. For example, this is a chair, a human being is sitting here. With respect to time, for example, this is a time versus magnitude. Time we started the journey by 10:30, 12. The magnitude will be constant. So the magnitude of the person or the magnitude of we people are going to be constant. This is called the steady state loading, or it is a static loading. So can you tell me one example, real-time example for dynamic loading? Anything, whatever comes to your mind. I'm asking about the example for the dynamic loading. This is an example for the static loading. We are sitting in a chair. right? We are sitting in a chair. Similarly, example for dynamic loading. So in the case of a dynamic, yes, sir.
And walking to floors. When you're walking on floor.
Exactly. We are walking, whenever we are walking on the floor, what pattern we are following while walking, or what type, how the load is transmitted to the floor. On the pattern, உங்களால imagine பண்ண முடியுமாங்க சார்? What I'm asking is, you are same thing. Imagine you are in the bridge. So from the bridge, we are trying to have a skipping. So skipping நம்ம பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கப்போ, one second. Okay, we are doing the skipping. So how the load, whenever we are airlifted, the load will be 0. Whenever we are touching the floor, maximum, minimum. In this way, the load is getting. This is a sawtooth waveform. This is an example for how the dynamic load is acting on a structure. Similarly, in the same load, it may be of a waveform also. So this is a sine function, cos function. So these are all example for the dynamic loading. With respect to time, if the magnitude of the load varies continuously, then it is called as dynamic loading. So forces, it may be right now we are sitting in the chair. It is a push load, or it's a compressive load we are offering to the chair. So whenever the pulling, we are playing the guitar. So what type of load we are transferring to the string while playing the guitar? Or guitar நம்ம play பண்றோம், அந்த டைம்ல what type of load it is subjected to? The guitar strings are subjected to
Dynamics.
exactly vibration load. We are vibrating the guitar string. That's why we are hearing the music. So that is called as the vibration of a string. So and what is the general magnet? For example, what I'm trying to convey is W equals to 5000 Newton. This is an example for static load. But in the same way, how can we define a dynamic load? Anybody? 5000 Newton. It is clearly, it is a static load. This is the example for static load. How can we define a dynamic load?
We need to vary from the maximum.
Sir?
With respect to the time, sir. With respect to the time.
Any example? Example
how
for
long
a
it is to
dynamic
be.
load. Correct. Your theoretical observation is correct. But to differentiate, this is a static load. How to define the same static load in dynamic load? Example for dynamic load I'm asking.
The spring is subjected to minimum load of 500, the maximum load of 5000.
Fine, sir. Now to be represented, we can say 5000 cos omega t. This is an example for the dynamic load. So with respect to, it is dependent on the time. Now the magnitude of the load is depending on the time and phase, right? So that's why this is the fundamentally we can explain to the students what is the main difference between static load and dynamic load. That is the one thing. And another thing is, all the concepts whatever we have discussed in strength of materials subject, that is executable for the total 5 units are worth for a static loaded. That's why we calculated delta. That is delta equals to WLQ by 48. Everything we calculated. That is for the statically applied load. So while designing the component for subjected to a dynamically applied load, so then Soderberg and Goodman equation or fatigue concept needs to be addressed, right? So that is different. So this is the first thing we can inform to the students. So the forces pushing down on the chair, but the chair does not move. So this is right now we are sitting on the chair. So this is the roller. So what is the type of contact between the roller to the ground? It won't move. The chair will not move anywhere. So this is called the static friction. Okay, the floor is the balancing the force by pushing on the chair. So 2 over force. So the W is acting downward direction right now. So reaction force is acting all the 4 contact areas. So this is the reaction force, and this is the actual force acting on the seat. So both are getting balanced. Okay, both are getting balanced right now. And because of we are sitting in the chair will not move anywhere. Roller will move. Because of the roller, it will move. Imagine there is no roller. It's a straight flat support. Then the chair will not move anywhere. So right now it is a static condition. But there is a friction between the floor and the chair also. Because of that, there is enough friction. If there is no friction, then obviously the chair will start to move here and there. So if the floor is, imagine now the floor is concrete floor, or it may be a tiles, or it may be a glass. Next one, glass with some lubricant. Whenever we are walking, so concrete, there may not be any difficult. Tiles, okay. Tiles without any lubrication, it's okay. Glass, okay. Glass with some lubricant oil spilled out, then it is difficult to walk. Or some soap water, something like glass with soap water. We find it difficult to walk because the friction comes down. So, so we know the undulations in the different surfaces, and how the different surface, how to measure the surface roughness might have learned from the metrology course. So here, whenever the load is acting on the floor and the contact between the, because why I'm insisting this particular topic is whenever we are working on the software called contact modeling. So whenever we want to make a contact analysis between the two mating components, these fundamentals are required. Okay, so this is called the force. So how do forces combine? So for example, force often acts on an object. So you can add the net forces you want to calculate. You are just trying to lift the concrete block. So this is your weight and this is a weight we are going to add. Okay, together we are going to move. So in that case, all the loads we can add together, weight of the person plus weight of the block. So both can get added together, right? So forces in the same direction. So these animations or images we can use during our, like I will share all the materials whatever I'm using right now to the Armum sir, so that you can make use of your lecture also, no constraint, because I collected from the net only. It's none of my slides. So now whenever we are explaining the students when the two forces are acting on the same direction, so at that time you can make use of this image. So the net force is 25 Newton plus 20 Newton because both. So she's pushing the chair in this way, and the boy is pulling the same direction. So the net force acting on the member or not. So now this is the real-time application. So the one second. Whenever this is a real-time application, a real-time example. So how to convert this into a applied solid mechanics problem? This is the load. Okay, this is the one force, this is another force. So this is the equivalent drawing. Left hand side is a real-time example, and the right hand side, this is 20 Newton, this is 25 Newton. Okay, so both are, this is the object and this is the floor. Okay, this is okay, total load net force equals to 25 Newton plus 20 Newton. So in the friction between, now the object starts to move in this direction, okay, and force of friction will act in the opposite direction. The self height of the block will be acting downward direction. Normal reaction will be in this way. So this is the primitive fundamentals. So the entire piano's weight will be acting in the downward direction. Reaction force will be in the opposite direction. So both the persons are trying to pull the piano or instrument in the right hand side directions. So friction force will be acting right hand side. Now our aim is, you may be wondering, there is a rollers here. Okay, forget about, there is no roller here. Now the entire bottom surface of the piano is in contact with the floor. In that condition, how to calculate the friction forces, right? When the forces are applied, now something like that, these kind of examples we can explain to the students rather than teaching with the simple blocks like this. Right hand side, everybody known fact. Instead, if we explain along with some images like this, then the concepts can be understood to the both of us and the students in a better way. So whenever, at least some trials you can make. In your slides also you can include these photos so that it would be interesting whenever we are teaching the kinematics to the students. And similarly here, forces of different directions. So 10 Newton and 20 kilonewton are, both the dogs are pulling on other side. So 12 minus 10. So 2 kilonewton is right now, this is the net force acting. So both this is the forces acting in the opposite direction. This is the better imagination. So whenever we are teaching the courses, we can, for each and every concept, we can explain them with a simple image so that they will never forget about the concept. So we will also have additional satisfaction while teaching the course. Definitely, I'm not doing to this extent, but 50%. Some videos, animations, photos. Only whenever we are explaining the concepts at the time during the problem, it may not be possible. Everybody, we may not be able to do that, but at least we'll explain the concept. We can use of these figures. It won't spoil our time. So it will make our classroom lecture interesting, and moreover, we will also our satisfaction level also will increase, right? Opposite directions, this of course we can make use of this. So generally, balanced and unbalanced forces, and one example as the unbalanced forces are the culprit for the vibration. Can you tell me any example for unbalanced forces? Examples for when unbalanced forces causes vibration.
Yes, sir. Rotate imbalancing of the mass distribution, sir, in the material side.
Example.
If you are making any of the disc, if you are making the wheel disc,
exactly.
In that the material distribution we consider as the uniform, but it is during the manufacturing it is very difficult to identify the uniform distribution of the material within the specifications.
Fine, sir. Super.
So during the rotation.
Okay, sir. Fine. So all the answers are correct. Now, idea is we are very strong in the reasons for vibration and what are the unbalanced force, how to measure the unbalanced force. Everything already we taught to the student. Balancing of rotating masses, reciprocating mass, everything fine. How can we contribute with this technical stuff to the society? How can we minimize the vibrations produced in the mixie? Any idea? Can you think about your product to absorb the entire vibration caused in the mixie? If you have any idea, immediately you can contact Preeti Kitchens.
Sorry, actually it is very, very difficult, sir, because the arrangements, the number of elements which is to be enrolled inside the mixie, it is very less.
Completely I agree.
We are going
completely.
to add, if we are going to add, we are going to add additional elements. If the system is having the additional elements, means we have to reduce the vibration through that element.
Fine.
But it is only possible for the reduction only.
I do agree your point 100%. As a researcher's point of view, if you say it is difficult, it is not at all possible, it is not viable, then that is the exact place to start our journey. Okay. What I suggest is, imagine this is the mixie. So, how to agree? There are many rotating element and unbalanced. Fine, nothing. Can we develop a new additional attachment to this shock absorbing arrangement? Maybe fluid bed based, something like that. So that if I minimize the vibration to half, then it is okay. Even I don't have any idea, because this is even it may be electromagnetic, something like a nanoparticle based or magnetized based, something, some attachment. Now the device will be, the name of the device will be attachment for the mixie, vibration attachment for the mixie. So that kitchen la nama use பண்றப்போ இந்த எங்க attachment மேல நீங்க மிக்ஸியை வச்சு ஆன் பண்ணீங்கன்னா சவுண்ட் வராது அப்படிங்கிற assurance I am going to give. So if you scratch our brain right now, this is the another product. Badly it is required for both LG equipment and Preeti Kitchens and VDM also. This is another area wherein again you can think about towards vibration related problem, or the idea is how are we going to design such a device for the company LG, VDM as well as Preeti Kitchens. It is going to be a vibration absorber, that's all. So because why I am telling this concept, because unbalanced forces are the culprit and the unbalanced forces causes vibration. So we can right now make initiatives or some research part or any patent related works we can initiate so that we can address the problems of these three companies. Because one attempt we made for LG and we won the first prize also. Now the idea is under patent conversion of the patentable, because this is electromagnetic based, nanoparticle based, low cost electromagnetic particles based, low cost nanoparticles based vibration absorption system for air compressors. So this is the concept, something like that. So once if you are very much strong in the fundamentals, immediately yes we do to teaching is one aspect. Another aspect is how can we address the industry problem. So if we start to think in this direction, definitely we can crack some consultancies or R&D part of that. We can start our another branch of our own growth related area. Okay, so the physics is this is the balance, and since it's related to dynamics, let us go ahead with the friction part. Balanced and unbalanced forces. Okay, already we have discussed here. So what causes friction is a force opposes the motion between the two surfaces that are in touch. So that is the known fact. The surface of any object is rough. For example, நம்ம கார்ல வந்து ஹேண்ட் பிரேக் அப்ளை பண்றோம். வாட் இஸ் த டைப் ஆஃப் பிரேக் இட் இஸ்? கார்ல ஹேண்ட் பிரேக் வெஹிக்கிள பார்க் ஸ்டாப் பண்ணிட்டு ஹேண்ட் பிரேக் அப்ளை பண்றோம். வாட் டைப் ஆஃப் பிரேக்? ஹைட்ராலிக்ங்களா? ஹைட்ராலிக் இருக்காது
சார். இட்ஸ் a disc brake sir. I mean it's a pad in contact with to closing the wheel sir.
கரெக்ட். நம்ம வந்து அந்த லிவரை மேல லிஃப்ட் பண்றோம். லிஃப்ட் பண்றப்போ என்ன ஆகுது? நம்ம வந்து பிரேக்கிங்ல வந்து நம்ம அப்ளை பண்றப்போ ஓகே anyhow we are going to come across அந்த இடத்துல கூட we are using the brake. So obviously the main purpose of the friction is to oppose the motion. So the surface of any object is rough, even an object that feels smooth or curved, tiny hills and valleys. Even the glass surfaces, if you make a zoom, of course glass is the benchmark surface we can say. Any coating, any coated surface, small up and valleys, hills and valleys we can find out. So the contact between the hills and valleys of the two surfaces called the stick or slip. There are two important concepts are there, research concept, sticking and slipping. So these two concepts are important if your research area is related to fretting fatigue. Okay, so this is another research area, fretting fatigue. Or contact failure of the surfaces, contact fatigue is otherwise called as fretting failure. Okay, sticking phenomenon and or slip phenomenon are the two important research concepts. Now again many based on the surface roughness between the two mating surfaces, either it may stick or slip. So this is the example for the friction surfaces. So what causes the friction? Amount of friction mainly depends on roughness on the surface, forces pushing the surfaces together. So this is a compare the road surface, how it is like this. This is a concrete one. So there are extremely two different surface. In the roads are concerned, what it would happen if you make very smoother contact? It is badly contact is required between the tire and other stuff. Otherwise, just imagine the hairpin bends or in the curved areas, we require high friction is required. Whereas while playing indoor stadium or other locations, we don't want the contact, we don't want the friction. So this is the two different applications. Whenever we are designing the tires, mainly tire profiles, or whenever we are designing the vehicles, so these aspects should be considered. And what is the purpose of the tire treads? Have you ever heard about tire with spikes? Tire with spikes, and where it is required? Any idea? This is also another new product based on the friction only. Tire with spikes.
Dissipation of heat sir during contact with the surface.
Heat aspect okay, but more grip. இது வந்து
gripping, that is increasing the friction between them.
நம்ம ஷூஸ்லயே வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா ஸ்பைக்ஸ் இருக்கு, பாத்திருக்கீங்களா? நம்ம கிரிப்புக்காக லாங் ரன்ல வந்து ஷூஸ்லயே வந்து ஸ்பைக்ஸ் இருக்கு. அதே மாதிரி டயர்லயும் வந்து ஸ்பைக்ஸ் இருக்கு. Again to enhance the ground contact. So to get more grip, more friction between the rolling tire and the floor, the spikes are generally temporarily the spikes can be added to the wheel. Okay, temporarily the spikes can get added to the tire. This is one idea. types of friction everybody knows very well. Now what I'm asking is, another research area is between the while designing the, what is the difference between journal and ball bearing? Any idea? Difference between journal and ball bearing. What I am drawing is a ball bearing. Any idea?
The inner race and the outer race contact with balls, with the steel balls.
Exactly.
Case of ball bearing. Case of journal bearing, it is with the lubrication oils.
Fine, exactly, superb. In the first, in your first answer, at static condition, what is the type of contact between the ball and the race? Point contact. Correct, sir? Do you agree?
Yes. Yes, sir. Agree.
When the shaft starts to rotate, the point contact became a line. So this is the important concept here. Similarly here, everywhere fluid will be filled. Okay, and moreover, the ball bearing or roller bearing generally we will be using for to withstand the axial and radial load. Journal bearing can withstand only radial loads. So in our governor experiment, the vertical shaft rotates within a journal bearing. Our cycle, everywhere, other than many locations, we are using the ball bearing or roller bearing. Sometimes taper rollers also we are using for the bearing. This is a different issue. Now the question is, between the what type of where the friction will be less, because it's a rolling contact element, right? It's a rolling contact element, and this is the in both cases, both bearings, in the type of nature of contact is rolling. So the kinetic friction occurs when the force is applied to an object and the object moves fine. Sliding friction, pushing object across the surface. So example is journal bearing, and rolling friction between the wheels and a surface. So here we can say rolling contact bearing. Fluid friction opposes the motion of object traveling through the fluid or air. So what is the purpose of spoilers? Any idea? In car we are sports car we are using spoilers. What is the purpose?
In order to balancing a dynamic force.
Superb. So the fluid friction, whenever we are riding the vehicle, whenever we are driving the vehicle, the air friction should be less. Otherwise, our physical fatigue will be unavoidable whenever we are driving at high speed. So the fluid, because of the high speed air, so it will hit our face and then it causes also friction. So that's why the fluid friction is like this, opposes the more. And similarly, whenever you are designing the aircraft nose portion and car front portion, the air resistance should be less, otherwise friction will be more. Okay, the buses, even if you look at the travels bus, front glass will be one single glass will be there, so this nicely it will deflect the air to the rear side. Okay, in the earlier case, the bus front glass will be two glasses will be there. Nowadays it's only one single glass, Volvo, Scania, most of the applications. The main purpose is to reduce the front air resistance, or by the friction between the air to the glass will be very less. That's why these are the different types of friction. So these are the nice fluid friction. Example is this figure, and then here the sliding arrangements. So generally we are using the another research area. So what is the general material we will use for the sliding of this theme parks everywhere? Stainless steel to reduce the friction. Sometimes we are using the composite material also. So how to determine the frictional behavior of the composite materials, especially frictional behavior or wear behavior? Okay, wear behavior of the scratching test or something like this, right? So this pad, because this is a real-time application, and wear resistance or frictional characteristics of the MMCs or any laminated composites, that is the research area. So these are the different types of frictions we can say. So this is static friction, occurs when force applied to an object does not cause the object to move. You are applying the force here, the person is applying the force, but it does not cause the object to move, because here the between the tire to the road surface the friction is high. Okay, this is called the static friction. So most of the bearing design, so whatever we are designing, how to teach to the students, you know very well, because the problems and everything are readily available. So teaching to the students, it is readily okay. So now the question is, how are we taking these aspects to our research perspective. So that's why I'm covering. Okay, so this is a static friction. Static friction is high. Suppose when the vehicle moves, for example, to reduce the amount of friction, apply a lubricant between the two surfaces. So between the piston and the cylinder, are we using lubricants? This is the piston, connecting rod, crankshaft. In between the here, what is the type of friction exists here? Are we using lubrication oil here? Between the piston and the cylinder, piston rings we are using, right? Between the piston and the cylinder, piston rings we are using. So that's why there is no metal to metal contact here. So engine oil, we are using the engine oil, yes, fine. And then what is the purpose of engine oil? So servo, 2T, pride, something we are using. What is the purpose of this engine oil? In which place exactly it will reach? Engine oil, how are we applying to the engine? How it gets spilled? Any idea? Whenever we are filling the diesel or petrol,
through droplets, sir. Through droplets of the during the combustion.
Sure. Okay, sir. That is one answer. And for example, we are using the servo pride or whatever for our car engine. Fine. What is the main purpose? To reduce the friction or to cool the engine?
Sir, piston ring maximum it is cooling the engine percentage, sir. But minimum level, if we are through this piston ring, it is to be making for the reduction of friction. But tiny droplets is to be produced for reducing the heat dissipation. That means increasing the heat dissipation, sir.
Superb, sir. Fine. So for both purposes, so the engine oil we are using, what is going to be 2T and 3D, everything is there is a specifications for that. So motor oil, wax and grease. And the grease, you know very well. Have you okay, greaseல நிறைய டைப்ஸ் இருக்கு. நான் சொல்ற கிரீஸ் பாத்தீங்கன்னா உங்களோட நம்ம இந்த கேக் சாப்பிடுவோம் பார்த்திருக்கீங்களா? பர்த்டேக்கு கட் பண்ற கேக்லயே பாத்தீங்கன்னா அந்த பிளாக் ஃபாரஸ்ட் இல்ல ஒயிட் ஃபாரஸ்ட்ல பாத்தீங்கன்னா அந்த கிரீம்ல இருக்கு, அது மாதிரி கூட கிரீஸ் இருக்கு. So that is the still so soft and sponge kind of greases are available to make a thin film of lubrication. In the case of MTS test machines, we are using this high precision application. We are using the same grease. So the normal grease for the hard application, it will be so thick, but it will be still in the same grease. We can have multiple varieties are there. Something like our black forest cream. Okay, so even that type of, because it will occupy only the thin surfaces between the two mating areas. Friction can be resolved by rolling rather than pushing off an object. So between what is the type of friction between these areas? This is the important one, and the friction can be great extent can be minimized by the coolant. So the main thing affecting friction increases as friction increases as surfaces made rougher. So what will be the coefficient of friction between the rough surface, right? Friction increases when force between the two objects increases. So these are the two methods which are affecting the frictions. So these are the two things. So the different types are static friction, dynamic friction, kinetic friction, sliding, rolling, pivot friction. So the rolling friction, you can take it for your research area whenever you are working with the bearing characteristics. You can invent a new material for bearing inner race, wear resistance material for ball bearing or journal bearing application, or life enhancing materials, how to increase the wear properties of the bearings. So in those areas you can think about the rolling friction experienced by a body when it slides over another one, sliding friction. So the definitions are same only. And pivot friction, rolling, dynamic friction is the friction experienced by body when in motion. Whenever the static friction, generally it will be very high. At static condition it may be very high. So if the for example or puncture on a tire தள்ளிட்டு போறதுல இருக்கிற difficulties, everybody might have experienced that. ஒரு கார் ஏர் ஃபில்டு டயரை தள்ளிட்டு போறதுக்கும் டயர் பங்க்சர் ஆனதுக்கு அப்புறம் டயர் தள்ளிட்டு போறதுக்கும் the difference is very high. So the dynamic friction is experienced by when it is motion. So these are the different types of friction. The further classification is friction between unlubricated surfaces and friction between lubricated surfaces. So these are the ideas. And then the boundary friction and then fluid friction are the other types. Greasy friction or non-viscous friction, and we can say fluid friction between the oil film viscous based on the thickness of the layer thickness. We can classify that. For example, this is the one idea, and the limiting of the friction. For example, this is the object A, B is the floor. So always the self weight of the component weight will be acting downward direction. Normal reaction will be in the upward directions. So we are applying the force F1 in this way. Even for example, whenever we are overcoming the friction between the A to B, then only the object will start to move. So that is this is in this way also we can quantify the limiting of frictions. So generally loss F equals to mu into Rn. So these are the known facts. So the force of friction always acts in a direction opposite to that in which the body tends to move. Fine. The magnitude of the friction is exactly equal to the force which it tends the body to move. And most of our research work and analysis parts, generally we won't consider the value of mu, the coefficient of friction. Whenever we are working with the contact analysis, we won't consider the value of mu. But with the consideration of this mu, definitely the effect will be maximum. Afternoon. Okay. So generally the coefficient of friction we won't consider, but with the inclusion of the friction force, we can get the exact results. Okay. The force of friction is independent the area of contact between the two surfaces, and the force of friction depends on roughness of the surface. That is the one important thing, because everybody we are in our during our research work we are working with the different coatings also we are working. What is the main purpose of the coating? So to protect the surface, that is the one thing, and then to enhance the surface, because the coating will reduce the undulations in the surface level. So how to increase? Some places we don't want the friction. Okay, that is the one thing. When the coating gets spoiled, direct metal to metal contact will occur. So imagine in the house kitchen we are using the frying pan. Okay, so some frying pan is completely coated one. It can withstand the high temperature also. And whenever we are using the because of continuous usages, what will happen? The coating will come out. So at that time, any eatable products will stick directly to the metal. So that needs to be avoided. So நம்ம நிறைய திங்ஸ் நம்ம இந்த கிச்சன்ஸ்ல யூஸ் பண்ற எல்லா யூட்டென்சில்ஸ் எல்லாமே வந்து வியர் டெஸ்ட் பண்ண மெட்டீரியல்ஸ். Wear test with and without coating. So in this way they are getting the certified the coating. That's the idea. So the kinematics these are the same fundamental part which is directly available in the textbooks. Laws of solid friction are directly proportional to normal load between the surfaces. In the force of friction independent area of the contact surface given the normal load. The force of friction depends on the material of which the contact surfaces are made. So generally we are brass or copper or steel products we are making. After that we are making a coating over that, so that we can get the enough heat, and then life will be more, corrosion can be minimized. Okay. So the laws of fluid friction coefficient, these are the same fundamentals which we discussed. Limiting angle of the friction. So for what angle? So this is again directly available in the textbook. That's why I don't want to spend more time on this. So here if you consider this is the angle. For example, the self weight is acting on the downward directions. Okay, this is a load capital P, and this is a force F equal to mu into Rn is one category, and for what angle of phi. Okay, so for example, the magnitude of this force of friction F equal to mu into W or mu into Rn, where Rn is a normal direction. Fine. In the limiting case, when the motion just begins, the body will be in equilibrium under the action of the following three forces. These are the three forces. Okay, because the body will be in equilibrium. Weight of the body, applied horizontal force capital P, reaction. So because of these forces, the body is maintaining its equilibrium position. Okay, so okay, and the R must therefore equal to opposite to that of the resultant W and P. and will be the inclined at an angle phi to the normal traction plane. This angle phi is known as the limiting angle of friction. It may be defined as the angle which the resultant reaction R makes with the normal reaction. So the phi is the resultant force capital R makes with the normal reaction Rn, phi value, right? So this is a limiting angle of repose, and for example in the tapered one, okay, for what angle of alpha the body or block will start to slide, okay. So that angle we have to while designing a inclined structures, okay, even it may be a machine component or it may be a real-time structure. Whenever we are designing this, alpha plays an important role. For what angle of this alpha? Always, even though the object kept in an inclined plane, its self weight will be acting downward directions only, that is capital W. So to that self weight, capital R will be acting perpendicular to that, right? So since this is alpha, this is also an alpha. So the normal reaction always, the concept here is, this is the direction of motion, either down or upward direction. So this is the direction of motion. So for example, the object moves downward direction, to that opposite direction F will be moving, fine. Always to the F or N will be perpendicular. That's the concept. So always to the frictional force, the normal reaction will be acting perpendicular direction. That's all. Okay. So once if you know, remaining rest of the things are our engineering mechanics problem only. How to resolve the forces along the inclined plane and perpendicular to the inclined plane. That's the only logic here. Okay, how to resolve the forces along the inclined plane, and next one is perpendicular to the inclined plane. Then by force balancing we can get the unknown components. So that is the logic. And screw friction, that's why I told you, we faculty members know very well how to teach the screw friction and other stuff to the students. But for our research point of view, we can take this screw friction as a research area, even for our PhD work or final year project or anything. So the self loosening concept, we can take it out. So that too, in the mid-air condition, it is very difficult to lock, adjust the bolt and nuts. Okay, aircraft fasteners, and because of the wherever the vibration prone areas, how to avoid the self loosening of the fasteners, that is important. So that we can consider, at least through this FDP we can, after this FDP you can start your research work in that area also. Self loosening is one of the important concept, and another one is preloaded bolts. Okay, this is the important another area. Generally, whenever we are analyzing the bolted nuts, any fasteners or riveted joints, anything, we won't consider the preloaded conditions. Okay, so for example, if the bolted joint is considered, can you predict me, this is a bolt, and for a bolt and nut engaged thread, where it would fail and how the load is distributed between the mating areas? These are the highly interesting areas. Whenever the bolt and nut engages, always failure will happen in the first thread only. This is by experimental, and from practical point of view, this is observed one. Always failure will happen at the first thread where the bolt and nut engages. So this is the dominant failure. And the concept of the preloaded bolts we are using in the aircraft application, how to, and friction, due to lack of friction, self loosening are happening. So these are the important areas which we can take forward for our research work, because many times you might have handled the same kinematics of machines to students. So that's why I'm skipping these theories. So what is meant by helix angle and the fundamentals, pitch, lead, and one thing, this topic can be taught as it is to the students, but for our research purpose. So the helix angle condition, for example, what is the effect of the helix angle in the fatigue life of bolted joints, or effect of the helix angle, or how the friction coefficient varies, or how the frictional force varies for a nut loaded bolt. In that aspect, we can start our research work. So that is another research area also. And pitch, lead, and the depth of the thread, single start thread, and multi-start thread, everything is okay. And in this one, what I am suggest is, in most of the water bottle, tonic bottle, our Horlicks bottle also you can find, the threads may not be continuous. There may be some breaks at the center. At the intermittently you can find. Even water bottle cap also leak proof joint. Many applications we are using the threads. Okay, how to enhance the load carrying capability of the thread is the one area. And another one is what is the effect of friction coefficient on leak proof joint? That is another area. How to, what are the design modifications required in the mating area between the bolt and nut to enhance the better contact and frictional grip? These are the some important areas wherein we can aim for the publications or some, because using the simple software we can vary the frictional coefficient between the bolt and the nut, or between the any joints we can vary the friction coefficient, and we can identify when the stick and slip happens. Okay, so this is the research aspect. So for example, this is the bolt, the nut engages, right? Nut engages with the bolt. In between the mating area, I'm applying the coefficient of friction. Initially, I'm applying mu equals to 0.2, then 0.3, 0.4, then 0.8. By varying the friction coefficient here mu. So how the load carrying member, load distribution changes for each. For mu, this is mu equals to 0.2, something like that. So this correlation we can study, and we can find out a good idea what could be the friction coefficient maintained to avoid sticking and slipping. That is the one journal paper we can aim for this in this area is concerned. Okay, so similarly, single start thread and multi start thread in our governor experiment, there how the only thing is the friction is acting. So this is a square thread. So we know the dimensions and other stuff. So how the load carrying capability. For example, now this is the contact area. In the interesting area is here only. Here only the nut and the square threaded bolt are in contact with each other. So in this one, what is the coefficient of friction, or what is the frictional force maintained between the thread? Analytically, you know the formula, because analytically in RS Kurmi, any written, any textbook, how to calculate the frictional force between the nut and the square threaded bolt, that everybody knows very well. Okay, screw jack la we know how to calculate the thread. Now the question is, for various parameters, suppose if I change the helix angle, or if I change the pitch, how the friction force varies, that we can concentrate. Okay, let me stop up to this. This is the first segment of the presentation. 1 second. The square thread friction, the contents are available. Often short. 1 second. Okay. Is a helical structure to use convert between rotational and linear movement of the force find. So the fundamentals part is, you know very well, the V threads are square threads. So these are the nomenclature: major diameter, mean diameter. For example, if you go to the hardware shop and if you ask M12 bolt, what does this 12 indicates? Major diameter. Okay, this is a major diameter, and many diameters, pitch, everything we are using fine. These are the different nomenclature. And slope of the helix angle, how to calculate the helix angle plays an important role. For example, look at the thread. Okay, here I'll draw this. So if this is the thread profile, so this is axis, so this is the thread. If we increase the helix angle, what happens? Same thing, something like this. So this is the threads, slowly it will become flat. Okay, next one is something. Okay, so how the for various values of alpha, okay, for various values of alpha, lead by circumference pi into t. Okay, lead is the axial advancement of the thread. Okay, a number of threads into pitch. divided by circumference. That's why it is a tan alpha. Okay, something like that. So this is alpha, opposite side by base. So from this we can get the value of tan alpha. For a screw jack or square thread, any threaded pole, for a screw jack, let's take a screw jack. This is the tan alpha. In this one, tan alpha equals to pitch divided by circumference, nothing but pi into d. So from this we can calculate alpha is the helix angle. So what is the now force analysis between the contact area, forces acting on the screw. So this is the one. Always self weight is acting on the downward directions. This is Rn, normal reactions, and then this is the okay, because one particular thread alone, you take this thread alone. So and then this is the force analysis, and how to draw this force balancing already from EMEC we know very well. Okay, engineering mechanics already we have discussed, and here how to make up free body diagram of this contact region. So this is a free body diagram. So including all the slope area. This is a helix angle, and then the normal direction. Now through force balance we can get what is the force required at the circumference of the screw. Okay, torque required to lift the load, so that we can calculate by the derivations. The derivation part we can skip right now because already the derivation is available. Now we can think using this derivation, how can we proceed further? So now these are the standard analytical formulas available to calculate the torque required. Torque required at the end of the lever and force required at the end of the circumference of the screw. Okay, so this using this formula we can analytically we can calculate the forces required. Using finite element method we can make an analysis for various pressure angle or various helix angle, various pitch values, right? So this is how efficiency of the screws and other thing can be calculated, and problems right now we can skip because you know how to what are the given data. And one thing I want to insist, please we can insist the students in this way. Actually I am doing that. From the given data, first step is we should assume how to correlate the given data to a real world problem. One image can be included here. Write down the given data. Given data is nothing but a customer data. Given data, instead of using the word given data, we can say customer need or customer requirement. Then we are doing the calculation, final answer, then comment. Please insist the students to write the comments from the answer. Anyhow, even if they anything they can write. For example, finally, whether it is from the result. For example, if I get the diameter DC equal to something, then in the comment portion or observation or inference, anything can be written at the end of the problem. Okay, in this problem, the dimension we obtained based on the result, they should write one or two words about their observation. So obviously that will add additional weightage to the student's answer, and that is even in our teaching methodology also it will help us. Any problem, the torque required, and anything we can insist the students to write at the last statement. So the only in the screw thread friction is concerned, standard derivations are available. Only thing we can identify the contact and the force analysis is important area. Okay, 1 second. Now let us quickly go to within the tell the idea for the last one, and before that let us go to the video part. Now let us go to the brake.
Industrial machines often have heavy loads to lift.
So this will help you something like a videos kind of thing whenever we are explaining the belt, ropes, chains. Actually I cannot cover the entire topics within another 10-20 minutes. At least I will give you the glimpse of it. So these type of videos can be used while explaining how the ropes are fabricated and explaining the concept of forces, tension or compression. We can make use of this. This is how the
and depends on the job the rope will perform.
So whenever we are explaining the concept of torque, we can show this, and then how the ropes are made from the strands. So these are the different holes. Through this, individual ropes are being winded.
Range is between 19 and 36. The twisting wires converge in a die, which forms them to the required diameter. Lubrication is critical, and not merely to help the wires move smoothly through the die. It also penetrates within to allow slight movement between the wires. This increases their lifespan and prevents the strand from seizing. The strand exits the machine saturated in lubricant. A large rubber band skims the excess off the surface. The strand now travels through a row of straighteners. These heavy rollers apply vertical pressure, effectively erasing the wire's memory of being spooled on a bobbin prior to stranding. This prevents the wires from unraveling. And wind them together on a far big cable's finished diameter is then enter the die, twisting together over a core, which is itself a small steel wire rope. A core at the center of the cable provides additional strength. This cable's finished diameter is 90 millimeters. However, there are always small variations here and there. So now 4 calibration rollers, 2 compressing vertically, 2 horizontally, correct the cable to the right diameter all along its length. The finished cable winds onto a big steel reel, ready for shipping. The factory tests random samples in its quality control lab. There, a machine measures the
So these fabrication videos can be explained to the students before working with them. Belt, pulleys, and this is another one, how the helical gears are being made. Right now it is not required. Now let us go to the braking of the last topic, working of the brakes. This is simple. The concepts can be better explained with the videos like this. And here now we can go quickly. Okay, this is the rotating, the blue color thing is a rotating element wheel. So in the black color here we are applying the braking pressure. So through the springs, we are, whenever we are pressing the pedal, now the braking pad is in contact with the rotating drum. Now the research idea here is obviously many such as already done the heat transfer analysis of this, and braking material, that is the high potential area, high wear rate is required. So any composite pads you can think of, you can develop your own wear resistance material or high heat dissipation material or multiple layer weight reduction, anything related between these two contact areas can be made. That is another research area, because other things already freezed. Only in the braking pad material should have a high wear resistance. So what kind of coating or what kind of braking material, different material you can think of for our research work. This is the one area. This is also the same.
Safe brake system operation at the top of your list anytime you work on hydraulic brakes of any kind.
and braking distance is shortened by up to 3 meters. With the internally vented disc brakes on all axles, the system is able to sustain high peak and continuous braking levels.
So anyhow, I will share this video links and materials to you so that you can watch at any time. Now we will go to the last topic. Within sharply by 12, I will stop my lecture. This is the braking one. So the fundamentals and then theory and what are the requirements. Generally, we are using leather, fiber and wood facing are the material. Asbestos also we can think of. Automobile brakes, asbestos. This is the temperature. Now composite materials you can try. So composite materials with different combinations, heat enhancement, wear resistance, are better increased friction. So in this way, braking material related we can work. And then what is the amount of heat energy generated during the time of application of the brake? So that also we can calculate. So what are the different lining or materials required for brake lining? Low wear rate, wear should not be there. It should have high heat resistance, high heat dissipation capacity, low coefficient alpha should be minimum, mechanical strength, moisture and oil, because nowadays due to flood also the entire tire is immersed in the water only. So the braking pad definitely will create some sound whenever you are applying brake to your car, because it should be moisture resistant. Otherwise, because of the moisture, it should not affect the braking efficiency. These are the different types of brake. Okay, shoe brakes, band brake and disc brake. So up fourth one you can add anti ABS also you can add at the last. So I think that our car handbrake related to band brake type. Lorries we are using the shoe brake or block brake, S-cam brake. It will be called as S-cam. 1 second. So yes, in the shape of the cam will be S. So the fourth type we can use ABS. Okay, the fourth type is ABS. Disc brake in the two-wheelers we are using. Fine. Single shoe brake. Okay, the problem, the construction point is these are the thing. We'll skip these areas, and this is important. So pressure distribution on a brake. Whenever we are applying the brake, either hand brake or something, so how the braking force is distributed in the disc, that we can understand. So these are the example for the band brake. Yes, single block or shoe brake. This is I think we are using in our car hand brake. So you are applying the force P here. You are applying the force P here. So this is the rotating drum. So this is the shoe. 1 second. This is the shoe. This is going to be contact with this area. This is the contact area. Only up to this is the contact area. That's why the angle of contact is 2 theta. This is the pivot area. So against the rotating drum, if you apply the pressure, the speed will be retarded. So this is a logic. And how to calculate tangential force and then braking torque is a known fact. These are the easy problems. There are different conditions of this one. Okay, so this is here in the double shoe brake. Earlier case, the single shoe brake. In the double shoe brake, we are applying the force at both this area and this area. And this is the braking pad, we can say. This is a braking pad. So these pads are in contact against the rotating drum. Okay, we want the entire problems. How I think you know how to explain this to the students, because we have to draw the free body diagram of this. Wherever there are two contact occurs at both regions, RN1 and RN2, O1, O2 are the fixed supports. So while explaining the problems of this one, so better if you show one image to the students in this way, it would be easy. Okay, so here this is the brake lining, width of the brake lining, and this is the thickness of the brake lining. Here you can clearly say this is the thickness. This is the thickness of the brake lining, and this is the width of the brake lining. Okay, so now this is going to get contact with the rotating drum. So at that time, see, more heat will be generated. These are the retaining springs. Okay, more heat will be generated. That heat will be the heat dissipation should be higher. Okay, here you can clearly see this is the brake disc. This is the brake disc. This is going to make a contact with this area. So high temperature or generation area will be in this interface only. Here only we can expect the high temperature. So here also this is the brake disc. So this is the clear nomenclature already we discussed. Here this is the real-time application. How to convert this real-time application into a strength of materials problem or engineering mechanics problem. So this is your braking pad shoe, right? So either it can get lifted against the spring so that in the rotating disc will be retarded. So here you can see the this is a brake lining material. Okay, this is a brake lining material. This is for the shock absorber. Here also here you can see the braking materials. Okay, braking discs. It's a disc brake. So here the gripping area is only this one. What is the purpose of this hole? Anybody? The purpose of this hole? To enhance the heat transfer. Okay. To
Heat
enhance
transfer, sir.
Yes, exactly. To enhance
That's
the
the
heat transfer.
airflow enter during the rotation, sir.
Correct. Yes. To enhance the heat transfer only we are using. Similarly, these are the slots. And what is the height in the disc should be able to withstand high temperature, and this is the contact area. Okay. So here you can find the colored marks, high temperature areas, and then this is to for the air circulation. Okay, this is the disc area, double shoe or something like this. So these images can be explained to the students before explaining the problems of this kind, so that they can understand in a better way. Simple band brake. So now we have to create the imagination of how a band brake would look like. Then if you go to the problems of this various models, definitely we can make our classroom discussion interesting. Okay, so I think the problems are available. Anyhow, I'll stop my lecture up to this because you have an afternoon section also. If you have any queries, you can ask me now. Any doubts or any something like that, because I covered only how the same topic, friction, can be used for our research work, how it can be used for few patentable ideas, and how this particular unit can be taught to the student. That's all. I didn't cover the core, I didn't solve the problems and other stuff because everybody may be working in the same domain. That's why I didn't touch the problems part, but only I have given the peripheral idea. If you have any queries, you can ask me, sir. Any doubts, something, you can ask me now. Anything?
No doubt, sir. No doubt, sir.
Okay, sir.
Because we
But
are
one
showing a
suggestion
lot
is,
of practical application also.
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
One doubt,
We
sir.
are showing
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You can ask your doubt. No problem.
சார் ஓகே சார். இப்போ ஒரு ஃபோர்ஸ் சிட்டிங்ல உட்காந்துட்டு இருக்கும்போது ஃபோர்ஸ் ஆக்ட் ஆகுது நார்மலான்னு சொல்லி ஃபர்ஸ்ட் நம்ம இன்ட்ரோடக்ஷன்ல சொல்லிட்டு இருந்தோம்.
ஆமாங்க
அப்போ
சார்.
ஸ்டெடி லோடுன்னு சொன்னீங்க. இப்போ ட்ரெயின்ல உட்காந்துட்டு இருக்கோம்ல சார், அப்போ
ஆமா.
என்ன டைப் ஆஃப் லோடு சார் ஆக்ட் ஆயிட்டு இருக்கு?
இப்போ
வைப்ரேஷனால லோட் ஆக்ட் ஆயிட்டு இருக்கா?
ஆமா, இப்ப நீங்க அந்த ஸ்டாட்டிக் லோடு அப்பவும் அந்த மேக்னிடியூட் ஆல்மோஸ்ட் கான்ஸ்டன்ட் தான். நீங்க ட்ரெயின்ல சீட்ல உட்கார்ந்திருக்கீங்க, நீங்க எக்ஸர்ட் பண்ற லோடு அந்த ஸ்டாட்டிக் லோடு பிளஸ் அந்த வைப்ரேஷனால வரதே ஆட் பண்ணிக்க போறீங்க. ஓகேங்களா? அப்ப நீங்க யூ ஆர் இன் தி மூவிங். நீங்க ஈவன் தோ ட்ரெயின் உள்ளுக்குள்ள நம்ம உட்கார்ந்திருந்தா கூட யூ ஆர் ஆல்சோ பார்ட் ஆஃப் த ட்ரெயின். அப்ப அது டைனமிக்ல தான் உங்களுக்கு வரும். ஆனா வித் ரெஸ்பெக்ட் டு டைம், இப்ப நானே என்ன கேக்குறேன்னா, அந்த ஒரு கம்பார்ட்மெண்ட் எடுத்துக்கங்க, 72 பேசஞ்சர்ஸ் இருக்காங்க. அது வேரி ஆகாது. அந்த கம்பார்ட்மெண்ட் அந்த மேக்னிடியூட் வில் நாட் வேரி வித் ரெஸ்பெக்ட் டு டைம். நம்ம லாஜிக் படி என்னன்னா வித் ரெஸ்பெக்ட் டு டைம், ஆனா ஒரு சின்ன ஃபிளக்சுவேஷன் இருக்கும் அந்த லோடு மேக்னிடியூட். ஏன்னா அந்த டியூ டு அந்த வைப்ரேஷன் ட்ராக்ல இருக்கிற அண்டுலேஷன்ஸ், ட்ராக் சேஞ்ச் ஆகுறப்ப வர வைப்ரேஷன், அதனால வர்றப்போ இருக்க ஒரு சின்ன அண்டுலேஷன் இருக்குமே தவிர வித் ரெஸ்பெக்ட் டு டைம் அந்த மேக்னிடியூட் வந்து சேஞ்ச் ஆகாது. அப்போ ஸ்டாட்டிக்கா தான் நம்ம எடுத்துக்கலாம். நம்ம டைனமிக், ஆனா டைனமிக் காம்பனன்ட் வந்து ரொம்ப ரொம்ப கம்மி. டைனமிக் லோடுன்னு எப்போ சொல்லுவோம்னா லோடு மேக்னிடியூடே வேரி ஆகணும். இப்போ ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள் இப்போ ட்ரெயினுக்குள்ள நீங்க உட்கார்ந்து இருக்கிறதுக்கு பதிலா திடீர்னு ஜம்ப் பண்றீங்க. அப்போ ஜம்ப் பண்றப்போ உங்க லோடு வந்து ஸ்பேஸுக்கு வந்துருதுங்களா, உங்க லோடு வந்து ஸ்பேஸுக்கு வந்திருக்கு. அப்போ வந்து அந்த ட்ரெயினுக்கு அந்த லோடு வராது. கரெக்ட்டுங்களா? இப்போ ட்ரெயினுக்குள்ள இப்போ நீங்க ஜம்ப் பண்றீங்க, ட்ரெயினுக்குள்ள ஜம்ப் பண்றீங்க, அப்போ வந்து அது டைனமிக் லோட் ஆயிரும். ஆனா நீங்க ட்ரெயின் கூட கான்டாக்ட்ல இருக்கிற வரைக்கும் அது ஸ்டாட்டிக் லோடு தான்.
ஓகே சார், ஓகே சார்.
நம்ம எப்போ டைனமிக் சொல்றோம்னா எஸ் கேளுங்க சார்.
சார் இப்ப மிக்ஸி ஒரு வைப்ரேஷன் சொன்னீங்கல்ல சார், மிக்ஸி பாடி இருக்கு, ஜார் இருக்கு. இந்த ஜாருக்கு கீழ பாட்டம்ல பாத்தீங்கன்னா ஒரு பிளாஸ்டிக் பேஸ் கொடுத்துருக்கோம் சார்.
அது வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா
கிரிப்பிங்காக நீங்க இந்த வைப்ரேஷன் எப்படி அவாய்ட் பண்ணலாம்னு சொல்லி ஒரு ரப்பர் மெட்டீரியல்.
ஆமா,
நீங்க வைப்ரேஷன் அவாய்ட் பண்றதுக்காக சம் மெட்டீரியல் சொன்னீங்கல்ல சார், அது எந்த பிளேஸ்ல ப்ரொவைட் பண்ணா அதை அவாய்ட் பண்ண முடியும் சார்?
அது வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா அது ஓபன் ப்ராப்ளமா தான் நான் விட்டுருக்கேன். அதாவது நீங்க அது ரிஃபைன் பண்ணி ஒரு ப்ராடக்ட்டா எடுத்துட்டு வந்தீங்கன்னா ஸ்டில் இட் இஸ் வெரி குட். அதாவது அப்போ வைப்ரேஷன்
அந்த பிளாஸ்டிக் பேஸ் வந்து ஜாருக்காக கிரிப்பிங் பர்பஸ் மட்டும் தான்.
கிரிப்பிங் தான். இப்ப டோட்டல் மிக்ஸியவே எடுத்துட்டு வந்து ஒரு டிவைஸ் மேல நீங்க வைக்கணும். ஃப்ளோர்ல வைக்காம அந்த மிக்ஸியவே கொண்டுட்டு வந்து, இப்போ ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள் ஷாக் அப்சார்பரோட ஒரு பேட் நீங்க ரெடி பண்றீங்கன்னு வைங்க, அந்த பேட்ல ஸ்ப்ரிங் எல்லாம் வைங்க, இல்ல ஃப்ளூயிட் மாதிரி ஃபில் பண்ணுங்க, ஏதாவது ஒண்ணு பண்ணிட்டு அந்த டோட்டல் மிக்ஸியை எடுத்துட்டு வந்து அந்த பேட்ல வச்சுட்டு இப்போ ஆன் பண்ணுங்க. அந்த மிக்ஸியை லாக் பண்ணிக்கிறதுக்கு சம் லாக்கிங் மெக்கானிசம் கூட நீங்க ஃபிக்ஸ் பண்ணிக்கலாம். இப்போ வந்து ஆன் பண்ணி பாருங்க. இப்போ வைப்ரேஷனை வந்து என்டையர் டெவலப் ஆகிற ஃபுல் வைப்ரேஷனை அந்த வைப்ரேஷனை ஐசோலேட் பண்ணணும்னாலே பாத்தீங்கன்னா எய்தர் ஸ்ப்ரிங்ஸ் நீங்க யூஸ் பண்ணலாம், இல்ல டேம்பர்ஸ் யூஸ் பண்ணலாம், ஃப்ளூயிட் பேஸ்ட் ஏதாவது யூஸ் பண்ணலாம். அந்த மாதிரி யூஸ் பண்றப்போ கிரவுண்டுக்கு வராது, நாய்ஸ் லெவல் கம்மியாகும். நாய்ஸ் கம்மியாச்சுன்னா நமக்கு கிரவுண்டுக்கு போனா கூட ஓகே, நாய்ஸ் லெவல் கம்மியாச்சுன்னா ஸ்டில் இட் வுட் பி பெட்டர்.
ஓகே சார், ஃபைண்ட் அவுட் சார். Thank you sir.
Thank you sir. Any other doubts sir?
No doubt sir.
Okay sir, thank you sir. Thank you sir. Thank you for
let me conclude our session sir.
Okay sir, sure.
Really we are excited sir because you are showing us a lot of practical applications and also some companies facing some problems associated with that component which may they produce. Very valuable input sir. Thank you so much sir for your lecture presentation on this 6 days FTP on applied thermodynamics, heat and mass transfer and kinematics and machinery. On behalf of head of the department, SRM Valiam Engineering College, we sincere thanks to you for presenting the wonderful lecture sir. Thank you so much sir. Thank you. Hello sir. Hello
sir. Yes sir.
Yeah, now we wind up our session sir.
Okay sir. Shall I sign off sir?
Yes sir, thank you sir.
Sure sir. Thank you sir.
Dear faculty members, we have as next session as 1:30. Mr. Sivasankar handle the session of afternoon session. Thank you so much. Now leave the meeting. Thank you.